about this, but I think it's worth repeating here. So, if we look at a larger picture of what each one of us needs to do in order to reach the goal of our life. The goal of our life is to reach unlimited freedom. Right now, it's not the case. We are bound by the laws of our body, laws of our relationships, outside things, and so on. So we may not realize we are in prison, but we are in a prison. And we don't need to be. It is a possibility for us to be totally free. So that's the objective that each one of us is really trying to achieve. And it is our nature and therefore our birthright. The nature is that we are unlimited, we are completely unlimited. That's our nature. And so the natural quest for us to be free is simply an expression of my own basic nature. There's nothing more than that. I think I remember talking about this, hopefully in this class also. If not, then I can just repeat it. That the word Ishvara, which we used for God, Ishvara, we should really understand what is the meaning of it. And as we understand the word Ishvara, it really is very revealing in terms of my own life. How? So first of all, the word Ishvara consists of two conjuncts. One is Ish and the other is Vara, Varach Pratyaya. So the word Ish means to rule, to have an order, to have a structure, to govern, to manage, to be the boss. There's some kind of a structure there is. This is called Ish. So this is called Ish. And each one of us also has this ability. We can manage some things, we can decide, like for example, supposing you have some bugs in the home. And you can either decide to take the bug out or to kill it or do something. So each one of us has an ability to manage, but it is limited because you may be the boss of the bug, but you yourself are bossed by other people. This does not happen with Ishvara. And why it doesn't happen? Because of the second prefix, or the second suffix, which is called Varach, which means nothing but Ish. So the Varach Patya is only used for words. Like for example, it says, for the word for the sun is Bhaswara. Bhaswara means the one which is always shining. Nature of the sun is shining with light. It's called Bhaswara. Nature of the moon is not always shining, but the nature of, so you cannot say Muswara. A Bhaswara you can say. So similarly, Ishvara means the one who is the natural leader, who is the controller of the whole thing. Now there we saw that there are two ways of controlling. One is, this is called the carrot and the stick. So one is by edict, that you shall please do this. You better do this. If not, then you'll be fired. That kind of an edict. The other one is where you make it natural for you. Your culture of the company is such that once you establish the culture, people behave in a certain way. You don't have to tell anybody, please do this or do anything. You make it so natural that people do it. And in the case of Ishvara, both of these are employed. We should see this. So the first one, which is by force, by edict, is done by having a consistent set of laws that govern the whole entire creation. And so the rotation of the earth around the sun and the temperature at which water boils is set by Ishvara. Is decided, this is the way to do it. And any variations of that also is decided. Log Psych, for example, if you go to the higher altitudes, then water does not boil at 100 degrees centigrade, it boils at a different temperature. That also has been decided. Variations have also been decided. And after that, the whole cosmos behaves in a certain way. You cannot change it. The sun has to come out every day. You cannot take a day off and say, I am very tired. Can't do that. Otherwise, you're not the sun. If you are to become a sun, then there is a devata for the sun. So that devata is supposed to govern the sun 24/7. Similarly, the laws of governing birth and death, all those kinds of things, yama, it is all decided. So this is an outside controller where the control is done for the whole cosmos. There is a word for this, it is called Bahiryami. So Bahiryami means, Yami means the one who regulates is called Yami. And Bahiryami means one who regulates from the outside. Outside in the sense that the entire cosmic creation, he regulates. He is called Bahiryami. But the real one that we should think about in terms of what our life is all about is the Antaryami, is the second way in which this regulation is done. And I think we talked about this, but in case I didn't, the magnet is a classic case of Antaryami, because you have a powerful magnet and it takes things, attracts to itself without force. It has a natural ability to attract things. Anything which has a has a metal will get attracted to the magnet. The magnet doesn't have to say, "You please come here and come near me." No. Just the fact that it has the ability, if anybody comes near it, it gets attracted to it. This is called Antaryami. And Ishvara regulates the behavior of each one of us by being the Antaryami. How? The very content of an Antaryami is Ananda. Ananda. And so, joy. So therefore, the magnetism of the entire cosmos, which naturally attracts everyone, is called Ananda. So now you can see that each one of us regulates our lives in such a way to maximize my Ananda. And Ishvara does not have to say, be happy. In fact, when a new child is born, the mother or the father may have to educate them, be clean, don't be dirty. don't pick up stuff from the ground, but they never have to say be happy. You don't have to, you have to instruct, this is how what happiness means, here's what unhappiness means, and see the difference, it's like this, nothing like that. It is a natural understanding, the very nature of the way that even the child behaves, that if it is hungry, it means I am not happy and I want happiness. And so the behavior of everyone is based on the natural attraction, which is Ananda. But here's the situation. Not all of us are able to find our true nature. And this is really the fun of the whole creation, is that along with the natural magnetism, which is Ananda, I am not able to see clearly that my nature is unlimited Ananda, which is the fact. So I'm not able to see this fact. This is how the creation is. And so the creation means that even though it is true, it is not perceived to me by myself. So in a way, I tell you, it is very much like it's a hide and seek situation. You know, I often give this example that I remember when the child is growing up early on, and the child gets hungry very, very much and says, I want something to eat right now. And the mother is saying, you know, you just ate about an hour ago, you cannot keep on eating so you have to give it some. And the child is crying, no, I want something. So what the mother does, and this is talking about like 1 year old, 6 months old, not any longer than, not any older than that. So what the mother does is, I remember this, I remember my younger brother was born 5 years younger, and my mom used to do that with her. She would cover herself with the sari. And this child is saying, oh, my mom has disappeared. Then she will reveal herself. So she plays this game for like half hour or 15 minutes or something like this. Silly game. And so the mother is always there, but she hides herself. Similarly, really, the unlimited Ananda is hidden from my view. Even though it is there, but I have to find a way to really do this. So therefore, meditation is the topic. Where does it fit into the reclaiming and understanding that our nature is pure Ananda? So there it is said that there are 3 stages to reclaiming. Reclaiming means that to understand that my nature is Ananda. 3 stages. So this is what we were discussing in the earlier class. So one is Kriya Shakti, Karma Yoga. The second one is prayer, Upasana. And the third one is knowledge, Jnana. So our Shastra, our Vedas also are generally segmented into these 3, which is Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. Kanda means a segment. So there, the Karma Yoga is the primary one, where I do not allow my actions to bind me. I allow my actions to free me. This is Karma Yoga. Because if you use the karmas in order to become more egocentric, then it binds. But the same karma done in a spirit of understanding, and also bringing in Ishvara into the picture, becomes freedom. Bringing Ishvara is a very important one. It can be done without Ishvara. It can be done, but it has its limits. So, for example, you may have social workers who are very very giving of their time to causes, but they don't believe in God. That's possible. It's very possible. But eventually it is said that even a social worker who is very giving of their talents and so on and so forth are also centric to themselves. They feel that this is the right way to do things. And I'm not happy if there are others who feel differently. So this also becomes centric to yourself. Even if it is not, suppose you argue that this is not really necessary. The fact of the matter is that even a good-hearted social worker is still in prison. Why? Because the limitations of the body, mind, etc., which still engulfs them. Their minds are very much more relaxed, I agree. But life has a limit to it. Health has a limit to it. And so they are also not eventually going to become free. Whereas a karma yogi that has brought Ishvara into their lives has the ability to free themselves. And so this is the process that we have to follow. Karma yoga. Then the second one is upasana. And the third one is knowledge. This is what we have to follow. And the upasana has two segments to it. I'm revising now. I think we already talked about it in the last class, but to understand this, upasana means, in a way, meditation. Meditation in the sense that you are creating an environment where you are not buffeted by outside things. Whether you physically close the door and just think or whatever, but you are now completely at ease. Means that you're not hungry, you're not thirsty, you're not sick, you're normal. What do you do? What should you do? That is the topic of meditation. This meditation has two segments to it. One segment is before knowledge, and the second segment is after knowledge. Knowledge means that some introduction to what is going on, what is Jiva, what is Ishvara, what is Brahman, what is Atma, what is Anatma, what is Viveka, all these kinds of things. A kind of like technical aspects of what a human being is. Really not any different from any other science. When you study, you want to be a doctor, you have to go through the basic biology. You know, what is a human being, the body is consisting of. It's got, bones and blood and this, and how the various diseases are attacking. This is how it is done. So the Vedanta is not any different. You have to completely understand how the whole thing works. In fact, one good thing, interesting thing to see, in the Vedic knowledge, you as an individual is a suitable person to start to study. You want to study Ishvara, study yourself, because you are nothing but a smaller copy of Ishvara. And so, you don't know where Ishvara is, but you know where you are. You just start to study yourself. And as you study yourself, you will begin to see similarities between the whole cosmos and you. This is the method that is given in the Vedas. So anyway, in terms of meditation, it is said that a study of yourself is in two phases. One is prior to knowledge, and one is after knowledge. How so? Prior to knowledge, so that your understanding becomes clear, is called dhyanam. It's called dhyanam. Means that you become more skilled in directing your thoughts, in leaving aside all interruptions, and just becoming more focused on the subject matter. And this is nothing, should not be very strange to us. Our acharyas point out it should not look as though, my God, this is a very difficult process. No. Because you look at how we study, or when you're watching a movie or something, we are already focused. We're already focused. You are just completely involved in the study. One of our, when our granddaughters come sometimes, now they are studying some kind of a book. And my wife would say, Siana, what are you going to eat? Siana is quiet, doesn't answer. She says, Siana, and she's so absorbed in her book that she's hearing it, but she's not really listening. And we have to wake her up and say, I know, just tell me what you're going to eat today, so I can make it while you go back to the book. So it's a very natural thing. So the meditation, dhyanam, is if the subject matter really captures you, it will capture your mind. You will just be absorbed in doing that. So this is the first part of it. Then the second part of meditation is after knowledge. And this is what we are going to study in more detail. So we will understand this. The second part of dhyanam, or the second part of meditation, is called nididhyasana. And nididhyasana means that you have an introduction to the knowledge, but it has not become fruitful for you yet. Introduction knowledge means that you are basically the nature of Ananda. This is what the basic knowledge is. But this is not clear to me. I am not Ananda yet. So there needs to be, obviously, there's some reconciliation between what is being said and what I feel. That process is called nididhyasana. So this is what this sixth chapter is going to be all about. So here, one other aspect of this before we go back to what we were doing before. It is pointed out, we should see how these instructions are given to us so that we are very clear about it. So one problem that a lot of people talk about, or really one problem that people have, really not talk about, what they have is this. They feel that the study of Vedanta is theoretical until you experience the real thing. This is a normal, I used to have dialogues with my dad, and he was also like saying, he was pretty impressed by what I was doing. He says, I'm very happy that you're doing all this, but this is just theoretical. Then you have to really sit down and experience. And this argument actually makes a lot of sense. It actually appeals to us that, yeah, I don't have the feeling that I am free, but I'm studying about it. This is a wrong approach. This is not the right thing to do. Swami Dayanandaji also and all the acharyas say, please be careful about this. We understand what the situation is. It is not like cooking or learning to fix a car. There, the theory and practice are different. Learning to cook and actually eating is the theory and the practice. Learning to fix a car is exactly the same. You go through all this, here are the following parts, and this is the screws and your motor and so on and so forth. But you have not had any practice. You cannot do it just by just recalling it, things and so on and so forth. You have to really put it. There, the theory and practice is relevant. In the case of an understanding of the self, which is called theory and the experience, it does not apply. So this method of looking at meditation as a way of experiencing is not quite correct. It has some elements of it, but not quite correct. How? This we should understand somewhat clearly. So it is said by the acharyas, when you think about it, you're always experiencing something. It is never the case that you are not experiencing anything. Even in deep sleep, you are experiencing non-duality. You are experiencing it. So there is no time in your life, in anyone's life, at any stage in life, where the person is not experiencing. This is the basic element. So please, and it's not as though for 50% of the time I have no experience and the other 50% of the time I have experience. Not like that. It's continuously experience. The very nature of life is that it is made up of experience only. That being the case, what is the truth about meditation is that my experience before I understand the whole thing is faulty. It's faulty. How do you mean by it's faulty? The experience is that of a sense of limitation which I shouldn't have. And the experience after the meditation, successful, effective meditation, nididhyasanam, is that the fault of my experience is gone. It's always an experience. So it is never like theory and experience. Remember, this is the point I'm making. It's always an experience, but one is a faulty experience, the other one is truthful experience. This is what nididhyasanam does. So in summary, the nididhyasanam can be in one of two segments. One is prior to understanding, and one is post-understanding. Prior to understanding means a prayer to Ishvara saying, please help me, I don't quite get what you're talking about. Help me understand this. This is called dhyanam or upasana. Different words are used for that. And post-understanding means that I see it, but I don't have the benefit of it yet. And so, the instructions given in the 6th chapter by Sri Krishna has elements of both of them, Dhyanam and Nididhyasanam. So this should be clear to us. Okay? That being the case, this chapter, as pointed out by Swami Paramarthananda, is divided into, as you know, 5 parts. Okay? So one is general preparation. Second one is specific preparation. The third one is the very process of meditating. How does it mean? Process of meditating mean, does it mean that you don't have any thoughts? Or should you have focused thoughts? Should you have some thoughts? All of this will be examined in the process of. So that's the number 3. First one is general preparation. Second one is specific preparation for meditation. Third one is process of meditation. The fourth one is the benefit of meditation. What is it? What experience should I have? Well, how would I recognize that this is where I am now successful? This is the fourth one. And the fifth one, last one, is that I know I'm getting there, but there are some obstacles to my understanding. How do I recognize the obstacles? And more importantly, how do I remedy them? So these are the 5 parts that we've done. For me to really fully get the benefit of Nididhyasana, these are the 5 things I have to. It's kind of like, you have to segment the problem into some simple steps that you can understand, and you can deal with it. So the first one is the general understanding, general preparation. So the words used for that is samanya sadhanani. I didn't get, I don't know if I can, see if I can put this up, write it down. Yeah, we already did this. So, one is the general preparation. We did this last time. Oh, I already did this. Wonderful. So, samanya sadhanani, also called bahiranga sadhanani. Bahiranga means, antaranga means, and bahiranga. Bahiranga means my conduct in life external to myself, like how I act, how I behave, how I respond to things, etc. And internal ones are called antaranga. Antaranga means primarily associated with my mind. Nothing to do with my response to, in terms of working with people and eating the right stuff and so on, but how I think is the antaranga sadhanani. So that's the second one, but let's look at the first one, which is samanya sadhanani. So the samanya sadhanani, the general preparation for meditation, has to do with the fact that I need to have a certain balance in my life. Not be swayed by something, by the way, both bad and good. So supposing you are you're successful in something, and you are happy that you are successful, now you are totally swayed by the happiness of that success, as though this is going to carry you, because it won't. Because any success which is external will also leave you. Only the Swarupa yourself you can hang on to, but outside success comes and goes. So the Bahiranga Sadhanani means that you should live a life of equanimity, where you are not excessively happy or excessively sad, knowing that both of them are temporary. So Swami Paramarthananda gave this example that supposing you come into my class, he was saying, in Chennai, and you had a fight with the auto rickshaw driver, where the auto rickshaw driver said, no, my meter doesn't work, you're supposed to pay me 20 rupees. And you said, no, I thought it was going to be 10 rupees. And then he said, no. And you have a big fight, and somehow or the other you give him 20, he's not happy about it. And then you come to the Vedanta class. He says, this will not work because you are thinking about, what a stupid fool that was. He overcharged me, and why do I have to do this? And so you need to have some samatvam in order to even have a basis of, this is what is the Bahiranga Sadhana. And from this standpoint, Karma Yoga is the best form of Bahiranga Sadhanani. Samatvam. Samatvam for a Karma Yogi is most. This is what a Karma Yoga gives you. This attitude of yoga towards my actions. So here Krishna also, this is an important thing to see. It say that a Karma Yogi is very well suited for entry into meditation. The reason being that you do not have highs and lows. Your feeling is that whatever is happening is okay, relatively speaking. If you are unable to see that, then you need to see that. And you can only see it if you bring Ishvara into the picture. You have to see how the things are already happening, and that you are not alone in this life. There may be some problems that you've had, no doubt about it, but they are meant to be had, and go over it. They are temporary, they will go away. And to have a certain shraddha towards Ishvara is a very important part of Karma Yoga. And in fact, in a way, this begs the question. This is why I'm not going through each and every verse per se, although we will do some verses. So here, Lord Krishna says that be a real sannyasi, not a conventional sannyasi. What do you mean by that? In fact, the entire Bhagavad Gita is directed to an active person, a householder. A householder who is involved with working, with having a family, with having problems. This is what it is all meant for. Bhagavad Gita is not meant for sannyasis that live in Rishikesh. It is really meant for the person, because 99.9% of the people are out there working. That's what the Bhagavad Gita is meant for. So the Gita says that a sannyasi, a real sannyasi, is the one who has given up some false ideas about what is good for them, what results to get, and so on and so forth. Has not recognized my presence as in Ishvara, and has really not developed the right kind of attitude towards the world. And so it is meant for that person who is a sannyasi. It is not meant for the person living in an ashram and so on. They've got their own issues. We'll deal with that separately. But the real sannyasi is the one who has come to terms with the fact that it is for me to act, and it is for the entire system to give me the results. And it is not meant for me to really just govern how am I going to do this and so on. Here, I think I talked about this on the Tuesday night class, and so I'll give that example here. So Swami Maheshananji was saying that suppose you have a supposing you have a play, and in the play the producer and the director and the writer, they have come up with a script. Beautiful example. And the script has certain things in it. One of the things might be that there was a guy who was robbing a house, and finally someone called 911, and the police came, and the robber got into the car and was driving away very fast. And the policeman is supposed to give him chase at 70, 80, 90 miles per hour, whatever it is. And the script says that the robber got away. Despite the fact that the policeman is really giving the chase, the robber got away. This is the script. Okay? This is the play. Now they go in to recruit everybody for the various roles. One of the roles they are recruiting for is the policeman. And he says, "Can you drive a car?" He says, "Yes." "Fast?" "Yes, I can do that." "Okay." So you are given the policeman. Okay, wear these clothes and so on. Okay. So now the place, the movie starts. It is a movie, let's say a movie. And the script says that you are not going to be able to catch this guy. It's already predetermined. You are not going to be able to catch this guy. So he says, "Okay, but you better try." So the movie starts, and this fellow, he starts driving at 55 miles per hour, and he never speeds up. So when later on they say, "What happened? You were supposed to catch this guy." He says, "Didn't you say that I'm not supposed to catch him? So what is the use of my good driving? I don't want to kill myself at 70, 80 miles per hour, because the script already says it, that he's not going to supposed to catch it." So he says, "Oh my God, who recruited this guy? What kind of a person are you? You are supposed to, I'm making a movie, you are supposed to almost catch him. And then he gets away. This is the whole thing all about it." He says, "No, I think this is totally ridiculous. What difference does it make?" So the acharyas say, this is what our life is. There is a script writer, which is Ishvara, and he has provided certain situations. And your job is to do the best possible job in the circumstance. And how it ends is not for you to figure out. What the scriptwriter does is totally up to the scriptwriter. And you will be, and so if that guy who was playing the policeman, if he had done a good job, he will be well rewarded. He'll be given lots of money, and he says, oh, wow, what an actor this guy was. And do you think that a fellow who only drove at 55 will ever get another job? Never. He will make recommendations, don't hire this fool. Absolutely not. You will become a failure. So similarly here also a karma yogi does the best possible job. So one other thing to see, which we have talked about it before in the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, is, so what is the attitude of a karma yogi? How should I act? So there are several elements to it. Okay. One is, as I said before, you bring Ishvara into your life. Into your life means recognize the power and the influence of Ishvara. That things are not entirely in your hand. It is a stupidity to say that I did this and I should be given this. No. There's a whole set of results that have to be considered. And you will be given the right answer. It's kind of like the whole world is completely computerized. Nothing is really, Swami Chinmayananda used to say that. He said Vishnu has done a great job of this is called cloud computing. He didn't say that in those days, but now if he was alive today, he would say this. The whole data is in the clouds. It's there. And there's instant computation as to what needs to happen. Not under just, you did one thing that should be considered, but there's a lot of other things that have to be considered too. So the karma yogi, in practical terms, needs to be aware of the larger picture. This is number one. The second thing, akin to a person driving to catch the thief, is this. You have limited emotional energy. Use the limited emotional energy for living in the present. Maximize your performance in the present and not worry about the future or the regrets of the past. So the equivalent of driving not at full speed is that instead of maximizing your attention to what needs to be done, you are unnecessarily worrying about the future. What will happen tomorrow? What if this doesn't happen? Last time it didn't work. No, if it is used for planning, it's one thing. But to really misuse this emotional energy towards worrying is what distinguishes a karma yogi from a non-karma yogi. So acharyas say that the best way to have the general preparation for meditation is to just allow the things to happen on their own, but whatever you have to do today, do a good job of it. If you do that, you will have samatvam, equanimity of your mind. You won't be buffeted by unnecessary problems. So this is the most important background for the samanya sadhanani, the general preparation for meditation. So therefore, in summary, the karma yoga is the best form of general preparation. Okay? And so we can actually begin here. Swami Swami Paramarthananda says, very interesting, he says, in that sense, a karma yogi is a true meditator. Because we have to see the word meditation. What does it mean? Meditation means the one who is effective in channeling your mind towards gaining certain joy and happiness out of life. This is what a meditator does. You can call meditation just 5 minutes of just, sitting there and so on and so forth. That's not what we call meditation. Meditation means channeling your activities in such a manner that your joy is not disturbed. That ability is called meditation. And in that sense, a karma yogi has a great start for being a meditator. And here, Swami Paramarthananda gives this on verse number 30 on the 3rd chapter, which is on Karma Yoga. In the 30th verse he says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. We studied this in the 3rd chapter. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Means, please give me all your worries. Give me all the worries. Let me worry for you. You maximize your limited emotional energy in just doing what you're doing and enjoying it. Don't worry about what's going to happen, this, that, or the other. I must say that I tell you, this getting involved with Aim for Seva in the last, especially in the last 6-7 years, has been a great thing for me. I can honestly tell you, there are some people who would say, a lot of my friends, they say, my God, that must be a lot of stress for you. And I tell them no. And they don't believe me. They think, you're so busy, you're doing... being busy is one thing. But it's not stressful to me, honestly. And this is a great lesson for us, for each one of us. We're going to have a meeting in this room on Monday, and I'll stress this point. Not to have stress. But really, I can just tell you that I am totally relaxed. This is something larger than me. I have to do the best possible job that I suppose should be doing. But I don't spend time worrying about it. It doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. This is Ishvara's job. And for me to say, I must be successful and this, should I not worry about? No, I worry a little bit about how to get things done and so on and so forth. But quite frankly, I sleep very well at night. And if things don't happen, they don't happen. Let Ishvara take care of it. And so it's a great experiment for me to put this into practice. And I probably would not have done it 10, 20 years ago because I would be the normal, well, I'm a better karma yogi than I was before. And so this is exactly what he's saying. He says, Mai sarvani karmani. He says, give it to me. Let me take care of it. And if it has to succeed, it will succeed. If it not has to succeed, but you do your best. Doesn't mean that you don't drive at 55 miles per hour. No. You have to drive whatever the script calls for. Go for it. But if you don't catch the person, it's okay. That is what the script is saying. Beautiful example, I thought, really. That really there is a certain script, and I'm just joyful to see what the script goes. How long will I live? What will happen to me? How about my children? And so on and so forth. I have no idea. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Just live in the present and do the best possible thing. If you do that, as a karma yogi, you are a true meditator. You're not all the way done, but a great start in meditation. This is what is being talked about. Yeah, here Swami Paramarthananda says that really speaking, a karma yogi is practicing meditation with an open eye. Beautiful. Very nicely said. Because our conventional wisdom is that, a meditator should have his eyes closed, should be sitting like this. Yeah, that's a good start. But really speaking, the joy of living without worry and without regrets and always seeing the presence of a larger in your life, that is really the true meditation. This is what is called Sahaja Samadhi. So Swami Dayanandji and Swami Chinmayananda also used to say that. So just look at this word. I'll just put it down here. So one is Andha Samadhi. Andha Samadhi means blind Samadhi. The word Andha means blind. Blind in the sense that, in that sense, you have to close your eyes. You have to create an artificial island. And it may be necessary in the beginning. We're not saying that. It may be necessary. But really speaking, in the final analysis, a meditation done with your eyes closed is really Andha Samadhi. Then what we need to learn to do, which might take a little while, is what is called Sahaja Samadhi. Sahaja means natural. Easy. And in fact, in the Drigdrishya Viveka, there is a very famous verse which says, Yatra yatra manoga jati tatra tatra samadhaya. Beautiful. I'm actually thinking of taking Rikdesha Viveka for the Tuesday night class after this Panchadashi is finished. I'm warming up to that. I think that will be a good thing to do. Anyway, so the Sahaja Samadhi means the ability to be with yourself, to be with Ishvara, to be with yourself, no matter what you are doing. Because right now, this is just a starting point where you are yourself as long as your eyes closed in the morning and there is nothing going on. There also we have some problems, but at least you can solve those problems. But as soon as you come out, it looks like a secular world, not spiritual. People are bothering you, you're getting late for work, there's traffic, all kinds of things and so on and so forth. And you lose your own equanimity. And slowly, with the factors that are being talked about, you become more acquainted with doing samadhi with your eyes open. Means no matter what you are doing, you haven't lost sight of your sense of completeness. So that may happen after some study and so on and so forth, but this is what is called Sahaja Samadhi. So I remember the Acharyas all talking a lot about that. So and Swami Paramarthananda, I'll just follow his lead on this, following this 30th verse of the 3rd chapter, which I just talked about, Mai Sarvani. He also talked about another verse on the 5th chapter, which we just finished, number 10. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasa papena padma patram ivam ambasa. That if you were to if you were to just leave the worrying to Ishvara and just do the best you can, then the fruits of action, good or bad, don't bother you. And you are at peace with yourself. Same issue there as well. So here now we can go to the enunciation of this in the first verse of the 6th chapter. So let us, let us chant the first 2 verses of the 6th chapter. You can open your book to that, 6th chapter. You can follow after me, two verses. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritah Karma Phalam Anashritah Karma Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyaha. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord said, Saha yaha karoti, he who performs, karma karyam, what needs to be done, what action needs to be done, does, anashritaha. Anashritaha, we'll explain that in a manner, but here without expecting, karma phalam, the results of action. Sannyasi is a true sannyasi, chana niragnihi, and not a renouncer of rituals. Cha yogihi, moreover, cha yogi cha na akriyaha. So let's look at the English translation. The Lord said, he who performs the action to be done without expecting the result of action is a sannyasi and not a renouncer of rituals. Moreover, he is a yogi and not a renouncer of activities. Okay? Here perhaps the most important thing which needs to be thought about is without expecting the result of action. Because this causes a lot of misunderstanding. Okay, so this one I think we've talked about this before, it's not something new. Some of this, so as we progress in the Gita, you will see that it summarizes what we have already talked about before in many cases, or it could be new to some people. But what we said was, how can you perform an action without expecting a result? Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, supposing Krishna is teaching this to Arjuna, and Arjuna is just kind of distracted, is not listening to him. And Krishna says, hey, listen to me, I'm talking to you. He says, so? Didn't you say that, why are you expecting the result that I should be talking to you, listening to you? Didn't you say that I can do anything? So no one, not even Krishna, does an action without expecting results. That's not possible. That's not what is being said. Then what is being said? What is being said is, if you are preoccupied by results and not the action, you will not be able to do a good action. Again, we said before, you have limited emotional energy, and just examine your thoughts. If every other thought is what's going to happen now, you should keep everything in mind. It's not as though your outcome has to be in mind. But after that, just do the present. And that example that I think I've given a couple of times, forgive me for repeating, really has struck home for me so well. And that is that if you were to plan an airline schedule, then by all means plan well. What is the track record of the airline? Do they have another flight if I miss this one? This is all karma, very important. And you do the best possible thing. Supposing you don't do any planning, you just pick the first one that came up. And then something happened. And then you start blaming people. Then that means you didn't do the right planning. We didn't say don't do right planning. But stop worrying about, and supposing despite your well planning, somehow the airline did not have the plane. Whatever happens, happens. These things happen. Airlines have their own problems. Some pilot didn't show up, and so on and so forth. And this is an interesting thing. It is written that half the time the pilots are either sick or something, but the airlines are never supposed to say that. If they make an announcement, our pilot screwed up and they didn't show up. They don't say that. They'll say, equipment problems. It's some bad weather. So they also know. The other thing I find about these airlines, because I've been around for 50 years in this country, 55 years. You know what used to happen? They will publish their schedules precisely, and half the time they're very late. So there used to be a record of how many people are late and so. You know what they've figured out? They're clever bums. If it's supposed 3 hours it takes, they publish it as 3.5 hours. And they make it in 3 hours and 15 minutes. They are 15 minutes late, but on publishing they say we are 15 minutes early. Really, if you look at there, most of them are ahead of time. I know this because many times I go to the airport and and I'm there way early. They haven't even arrived yet, or sometimes they arrive much earlier than I thought. So anyway, see, the planning means you have to, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, whatever. But at least you did your best job in planning. And so this is what is called without expecting a result. And I think this language can be, it could be done in that manner. This is why interpretation is necessary. It doesn't mean don't expect a result. It means don't be overly concerned with results. That's all. So anyway, that's what it is. So he says, anashritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasannyasi. So here it is said that karma yogi. So the first line is the definition of a karma yogi. So he says that karma yogi is a true sannyasi.
Use this for a second.
No problems. Take your time.
Use this.
Are you going to keep this for a while? Because there's a class here tomorrow in this room.
Okay.
Will they also find it?
They won't be using this material.
But you'll have it in the
Open area.
open.
Is this okay? Bring it back or no?
I am just wondering.
We can also put it in that office.
I
that
think
one.
you can either put it in this office.
Where the brochure?
I have a feeling that they might find it because I think they want to keep it clean and
Okay.
tomorrow.
Well, I'll move.
Huh?
After he's gone, I'll move. After the class.
Okay. All right. So here, the point made is that it's sannyasi is truly a sannyasi, one who is not involved in worrying about day-to-day results. You just give it to Ishvara. Let him take care of it. Ishvara means the larger structure. Whatever happens, happens. Doesn't mean that you don't. So this is a akriyaha. It's an important thing to see. He says na niragnihi, that we will see later on. Nacha akriyaha. So the guy who only drove 55 miles per hour is an akriyaha. He says, I don't care. Because the script calls for the fact that I'm never supposed to catch him, why should I try hard to get him? This is akriya. So, this is just saying if Ishvara is going to take results and so on, I don't care, whatever happens. This is not the right attitude. You really have to, because really sometimes you'll find, not sometimes, often, almost you'd find, we find our inner joy only when we do a good job. If we don't do a good job, others may find fault with me, I don't know, but I don't feel good about it. I blame myself and I have a sense of guilt. Oh, I should have done this better. Whereas you find that if you do a whatever you could do if you do, that sense of satisfaction is wonderful. Whether somebody compliments you or not is secondary. It's called avantara phalam. It has nothing to do with it. But for your own satisfaction, it is very important that you do the best possible. See, the whole thing is about your own satisfaction. This is why, for example, they say that even doing some wrong action, like lying, supposing you lie about something, whether somebody discovers your lie or not doesn't matter. But the biggest harm is that you find yourself unacceptable. Find acceptable. If you have a sense that I am a truthful person, it might get you into some problems. But the biggest advantage is that you are at peace with yourself. This is the meaning of akriyaha. And here, Krishna really gives beautiful words to anoint a karma yogi. So, anashritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha is the definition of a karma yogi that we have already covered. Now he gives some very beautiful words for it. He says, saha sannyasi. He's the person that I would say is a sannyasi. And also a yogi. Yogi means the one, I think the most important meaning of the word yogi is the one who is effective, who is successful, who is able to connect with what you want to do is called a yogi. So he's praising a karma yogi. He says he's a real sannyasi. These other people, they want to be a sannyasi by, living in an ashram and so on and so forth. But the real karma yogi is the sannyasi, is the yogi. And also the one, not the one who doesn't attempt, who doesn't have the satisfaction. And niragnihi, that we will do later on. It's not that important. That's just from a ritualistic standpoint. And I think I'll just stop here and leave some time for questions. But this is the sense of the introduction to meditation. What is the real meditation all about? And beautiful unfolding of the vision by Sri Krishna and also by our bhashakaras, our commentators, who really understood the matter very well. So with that, we'll stop. Om asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamada purnameva vashishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Time for some questions? Yeah.
So about meditation.
Yeah.
We talked about karma yoga and all that. So Paramahansa Yoga Nanda says you should concentrate in meditation. What does that mean? Concentrate on what? As a particular, he gave a sentence.
So that we will come to that a little bit later on. When we go to the third one, which is the process of meditation, that will be talked about. So if you kindly wait until we go into that, that will be good. This is just building the first one, which is the background for it and so on. Yeah.
You mentioned a sentence, yatra yatra. Can
Yat-
you please repeat it? I
Yeah.
want to write it down.
So I forget the number of that verse. I think it's number 20 or 21. Yatra yatra mano yati. I'll write it down. This is from Drik Drishya Viveka. So, yatra yatra manoyati means wherever your mind goes, no matter what it is thinking about, tatra tatra samadhaya. There are samadhis. And so this we will take up in more detail at some point in time. What does it really mean? And that is what would be called sahaja samadhi.
On nididhyasana, can we break up the word and have a word by Evan?
So maybe I'll do that for the time being.
Yeah.
So I will look at the meanings of the words somewhat later on.
Oh, okay.
But for the time, this is what it is, nididhyasana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It can be just called inner meditation or something like that. Yeah. All right, very good. Let's see.
So what kind of meeting on Monday, sir?
This is the one on Aim for Seva.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're just going to analyze how we did and how we can do better next time. And you're welcome to come.
What time, sir?
It's from 7 to 9 in this room.
In the evening?
In the evening.
I usually don't, I not drive in the evening.
Oh,
because of
yeah.
medication, things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So you want these things in this room?
I think it'd be
Probably
better.
best, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Can we please help people's help in rearranging these chairs
Sure.
so that they are on the edge of the
Stack of edge.
yeah. Just,
Oh,
no, not stacked. Just arrange them so that they
okay.
In the circle,
in the circle. Yeah.
All around here too?
Huh? No.
Those two?
No, this is okay. Because there will be a class here. I think Kaveri knows. She knows what
Yes.
she can lead us on.
Some sit in the middle, some sit in the edge.
They don't run on this. I think think she said leave it
Just
the
a
middle
circle
some,
here.
because nobody's going to sit on this side.
I think if there are some extra chairs, you can put them on the wall, that's okay. But there's not that many students, so I think just this section will be enough. Yeah, this is good enough. Then they arrange some more, but I think basically,
You can leave that right here.
yeah.
You can leave that. See you Tuesday.